On or before January 20th, Donald Trump will no longer be the commander-in-chief. He will lose control of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Special Forces, and America's nuclear arsenal. On January 20th, Donald Trump will become the commander-in-chief of a different army. This army.
That's right. The greatest threat comes from within. That Don Winslow film, Trump's New Army, and the message, if you're misinterpreting it, is vile. I'm going to warn you of that now. It's why I titled this video, this viral video's bone-chilling message. Trump supporters today isn't only an inauguration. It's the initiation of the eradication of your ideology. The purge is now going to go into full force. I'm going to provide you evidence of that within this video. First, welcome to Restricted Republic. My name is Justus Knight. Before I go any further, I need some huge favors, and I continue to ask this, and down in my comment box, and so many of you have listened, I can't thank you enough for that. I'm going to put a link to Mayway. I'm going to put a link to Gab. I'm going to put a link to Telegram. Now today, we're going to work diligently to present to you information that we can in the format here, and then we're going to go ahead and move the full version. We don't do two parts, but in order to help you and assure you can view it, because that's how critical this is, we're going to go ahead and give you 14 days for free to watch the full-length version of this at restrictedrepublic.com. If you see what you like in there, now you can cancel at any time, no harm, no foul, because this message is so important, we wanted to make sure each and every one of you were able to view it. But if while you're there, and after you sign up, and you start to trickle around in all the videos there, and you decide you like it, we're going to give you $5 a month for 12 months. Use discount code TRUMP. Just sign up for a monthly checkout. Remember, you can cancel at any time. No problems at all. But I guarantee you by the time you're done watching this video in its entirety, and by the time you're done watching everything else in the catalog, you won't be going anywhere else for the news that truly matters. Uncensored, unfiltered, beholden to no one but our audience. We don't have sponsors. We don't have commercials. And that was for very good reason why we created this so long ago, because we knew all this was coming.
Watching different video feeds of the attempt to storm the Capitol building on Wednesday, part of me was reacting as an American would react when you see one of the most important American institutions being desecrated like that. And then the other reaction for me as an expert on, extremism and political violence and that sort of thing, was more analytical.
Decoding the riot, how the far right is evolving. And I told you, we warned you that they would encompass all of this. They would encompass everything to include anyone who voted for Trump. And they're continuing forward on this. This won't only reside with one side of the aisle either, by the way. This will extend to anybody who disagrees with what they want to achieve. Anyone. It makes no difference. I've already shown you examples of them going after Facebook themselves. You see here, everyone thinks I'm a terrorist. Capitol riot fuels calls for domestic war on terror. Young lady who happened to attend as a peaceful protester. But this is what she has to say now. Everyone is saying it was a terrorist attack, she told Time magazine about a week after the riot. Everyone thinks I'm a terrorist because I was at the event. Simply because she was at the event. Now she is bundled into something that no one should be bundled into. Folks aren't real sure on how to handle this. Well, how you handle it is be prepared for what's about to happen. Be prepared for the movement that they are putting now into full tilt.
The greatest threat facing America today comes from within. Radical extreme conservatives, also known as domestic terrorists. They are hidden among us, disguised behind regular jobs. They are your children's teachers. They work at supermarkets, malls, doctors' offices, and many are police officers and soldiers.
You see how I told you they're bundling everything together now? And they would bundle everything together. We warned you when they started using these terms a long time ago and how they started intermingling them to encompass a broad band of people. Your children's teachers, the person at the grocery store. Who else will they add? Glenn Greenwald also sending out signals on this. The new domestic war on terror is coming. No speculation is needed. Those who wield power are demanding it. The only question is how much opposition will they encounter? They're demanding that you comply. Everything that they're about to try to propose to us, you simply agree with. You have no words to the contrary. And to make it worse, if anybody doesn't comply, this from your homeland, your Department of Homeland Security, if you see something, say something. And we're going to expand on that quickly here. And we're going to expand on that even further. Well, at least the portions we're allowed to say here before we go to full version.
be way out ahead of the events. And I think we're going to have to reset our entire intelligence approach to these white supremacist militias, these dangerous ultra-nationalist organizations. I think we're going to have to look at greater surveillance of them. The FBI is going to have to run confidential sources. We're going to have to penetrate these plots long before they present a violent threat.
Red flag laws. It's being proposed everywhere now. The precogs are here. They're going to determine if you're going to commit a crime prior to you committing a crime, or simply if you're going to disagree with their ideology before you disagree with their ideology. This is what's being initiated. They're not even attempting to hide it any longer. I did see a similar dynamic, by the way, as the article goes on to state, in the evolution of Al-Qaeda in Iraq, where a whole generation of angry Arab youth with very poor prospects followed a powerful leader who promised to take them back in time to a better place, and he led them to embrace an ideology that justified their violence. This is now happening in America. I think we're much further along. I think we're much further along in this radicalization process and facing a much deeper problem as a country than most Americans realize. Who are they calling that leader? That leader is Trump, is who they're referring to there. 75 million people voting for him, now shoved into these horrific phrases, these profiling phrases. America, this isn't okay. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. I'm showing you how fast this is happening. This is even before the inauguration. What happens after the inauguration when they feel even more empowered than they do now?
I do a couple things. One, there needs to be an intentional work by the social media companies collaborating together to work on violent extremism in the same way they worked on ISIS. When I started at Facebook in 2015, the number one challenge from a content perspective was the abuse of social media by the Islamic State. And there was a collaboration between the tech companies and between the tech companies and law enforcement to make it impossible for them to use the internet to recruit and radicalize mostly young Muslim men at the time around the world. Now we're talking about domestic audience in the United States.
We've already seen them do this. Why do you think they're shutting everybody down on Facebook and Twitter? Because they believe that many of you have truly been radicalized and you don't deserve to have an opinion anymore. And we're just going to stop it in its tracks before it gets any worse. These all-knowing overlords of the tech world. It's already occurring faster than anyone could have believed. It's already been pre-staged, by the way. Representative Adam Schiff announces domestic terrorism bill. I'll go full screen so you can read along. Democratic Representative Adam Schiff of California. This was several years ago, by the way. I guarantee you this will resurface now. Adam Schiff of California, who leads the House Intelligence Committee, has announced a bill to criminalize domestic terrorism. In a domestic analog to 18 U.S.C. 2332b, the bill would make it a crime to commit certain violent acts within the territorial jurisdiction of the United States with the intent to intimidate or coerce a civilian population. Well, funny thing is that many people now probably feel intimidated or coerced, that they're being bundled into a radical ideology. And so would that now apply to them, or was it simply weaponized or will be weaponized against them? And that is every indication we're seeing right now.
The political divisions are so much more stark and wider. Here in America, the difference between Democrats and Republicans, we're fighting inside the 40-yard line. Maybe...
You fooled most people on that in the last few months, I'd say.
No, but...
Obama's messages will now appear mild in comparison to what we're about to see. So our question is, where is your concern level at now? Today's Inauguration Day. The initiation, as I called it, of an eradication of an entire ideology based on the video I just showed you. That's what's being called for, the logging of everyone who believes in this now bundled mass of people. It should never be included in that, because guess what? Most conservatives are good, law-abiding citizens who simply are concerned about the fate of their nation, the security of their nation, the freedom, and their own rights. To bundle everybody into these extremist categories, as this radical element is doing, is irresponsible. It's dangerous. So what we're going to do in order for you to be able to check it out is we're going to give you 14 days for free. Simply sign up. You can cancel anytime. No harm, no foul. On top of that, in case this video and other videos you find in there are of interest, we're going to give you $5 a month, every month for 12 months. To assure you can stay informed as to what's coming right now. It's critical you understand that. It is critical you're prepared. That's what we do at Restricted Republic. If you haven't joined us on Mayway, if you haven't joined us on Gap, if you haven't joined us on Telegram, that's our way of informing you when we put out videos on any platform we may be airing it on. It seems now Truth Media is growing greatly, and for that we are forever grateful to each and every one of you who spread the word. Without you, none of this could be happening. But now, let's move into the next part of this video, shall we?